How to close the gap?
Yeah.
I'll go over that in due time.
It's kind of like making like a polygon and extrude it.
Sort of. Okay, guys, can I gather your attention again? So, Nafi brought up a good question. Her question was, well, at this point, if I've got this surface that I created and I need to move the top down, how do I do that? It's not as simple as doing a move face anymore because now we have complex relationships. We've got these polygons that were kind of just pushed into it. It will work, however, it's going to skew the thickness of these two surfaces. At least I think it'll work. Let's try it. So if I do a move face and I select that face and this one, I can go into the side view and just try and move it down 1 foot. So it's going to give me a skewed, sort of messed up edge because it's not built to keep that relationship. When it creates that corner condition, it's not smooth anymore. So what I find is rather than trying to deal with all the weird nuances of precisely how do you use move face in this condition, you can't prepare for all those conditions. But what you can prepare for is making sure that you keep your curves in an operative sort of control so that when it comes to reconstructing something a little bit different down the road, it's easy. So when I delete it, my curve is still here. If I want to move that down, all I have to do is select it, turn the edit points on, grab those 2 edit points, move it down 1 foot. Then I can extrude curve, extrude it however far it needs to go. It's on the wrong layer. But I can redo my offset surface. Offset surface, grab it, hit enter, flip all, 1 foot, good to go.
So now how we can make that.
So the difference here is that, yeah, that's a good question. The difference here is that when you have your profile now, if you haven't gone through actually making it a 3D form yet, like that actually has thickness, then it becomes pretty easy because you can use move face in that particular case. You can also use your edit points, which was part of the next section, but I want to go back to the condition that I did have, and we'll get into that. But basically, if you want to move this, you can turn edit points on for your whole, or rather, Control Shift. You select one of them, and you turn your edit points on. Hold on, which one was it? Oh, 1 sec. Control Shift. This extrusion surface. Edit. Oh, I gotta find where it is again. Hold on. I had the resource here. Just a sec. Okay, so when you need to modify a particular surface, you Control Shift, grab the surface, and this one should apparently not do it. Because you need to get both of those, turn your edit points on. There we go. All right. Yeah, it has to be exploded. That's what I was forgetting. All right, guys. So when you need to modify the surfaces individually, it's got to be exploded. I did happen to forget about that part. So you select the whole profile, and at that point you explode. So your surfaces are all individual. Now, just like when we modified each individual line segment, we have to make sure that we select both adjacent segments. Actually, I should probably, well, which part do I want to show you first? All right, let's go back to before the exploding, because the part that is very important that you need to learn about, I think, ahead of time, is that you can modify particular components of this while it's still joined. And you kind of can go back and forth between the two depending on how you want to modify it. So using the Gumball, I'll get to your stuff in a second, but yes.
How did you delete the landscape without and still have those points? Did you just turn on edit points, or you just turned it off?
Yeah, I just turned the layer off. Just hit it. So to modify and kind of stretch this thing into something that's a little bit more interesting, like what you're seeing over there, you can Control Shift on the edge and use your Gumball to stretch it. So when you use the Gumball to stretch it, it will actually modify the connecting condition, like what you're seing here. Similarly, you can actually, I think you can rotate them. So if I actually I don't think rotate's going to work. If you rotate it, I think you have to rotate it from selecting the particular base point, like that.
So first everything should be explode.
No. No, I went back from the explode. What I'm showing you now is while it's still joined as one family. Then I'm going to show you the benefits of exploding. Okay?
Can you repeat how you did that? Yeah.
Yes, I will. Yeah, I'll go all the way back to the original condition. Okay, so this is my original condition. I'm first showing you while it's all still joined. You can Control, Shift, and click, right? These are all just kind of Gumball functions and shortcuts. You've done these a number of times now. To get either an edge or a surface. You can move a surface too. But when I grab it with the Gumball, I can stretch it. And it will modify the condition in order to keep it connected. Unless it can't. There are conditions where it cannot. So as you're modifying both the edge conditions wherever you'd like to do it, you can also do the surface like this. If I hit Control Shift and I click on the surface, right? If I want to make it kind of tilt outward or inward, I can push it out like that. And I get a slight tilt. Now at the same time, I can do a Control Shift click over here and pull this one out.
So the move surface is, the command is move surface or nothing?
Well, I'll put it this way. The commands, both of the commands that I'm using here are move surface and move edge. The shortcut using Gumball means I don't have to actually type in the command.
Because when I'm doing it, it comes.
So the surface I will not modify is the one that is in plane with the hillside there. But I will modify these components out here. So I'm going to do a Control Shift click on the edge here. And where's my Gumball? Oh, because there are two edges there. So Control Shift click here, and I'll pull it back that way. I'll pull that one out. Control Shift click here, and I can pull that one to the side. So now you see that we're really starting to get a pretty fascinating sort of condition in our building. But right now it's still also a little bit limited. So now let's move into what can you do when you explode it. So if I want to make just one point, super exaggerated, just one corner, all I have to do is take the objects, take the whole folded plane, explode it. Okay, so now these are all individually selectable. See? And as long as I select two surfaces that are adjacent to one another or connected, like this, holding Shift to do a add selection, if you turn your points on, not your edit points on, but your points on, the one on the right side, this one will allow you to select, and see how it said two surface points? I actually did a window select like this. And this one will now allow you to pull the surfaces. But you need to be aware that it won't let you pull it in the wrong direction. See how it kind of broke it there? That's because it's reading an external edge. So what you have to do is pull it in the direction of the axis of that plane. Oh, let me see if I can do regular edit points actually. This one and that one, edit points on. Yeah. All right. So I think it's probably best practice to make sure that when you're doing an edit point modification, that it's limited to one surface. You can do two surfaces only if they're currently rectangular. So otherwise it'll kind of break it. So I can do an edit point on here, and this would be one that I can pull. Oh, look at that, it curved it. That was odd. Okay. All right. So, but to keep things pretty simple, I think that if you're going to modify using edit points, you probably, let me try something else. This one, edit points on. Yeah, it's only letting me do one. There are limitations here that I'm actually not an expert at. So my suggestion would be, let's keep it as one contiguous surface, and let's work with that, because that's going to get us probably the most interesting result anyway. So Control Shift to grab your edges, and we can modify within. All right. So what questions do you have?
For
Yes.
the aquamarine or the blue shape, I have my bottom floor. So what can I do to add that onto it and then rejoin it to the entire origami shape? You see the plane where it's red and blue? That bottom floor I didn't have.
Okay.
Unless it
You can just draw a new plane.
Okay, so that'd be 3 point, 4 point?
4-point plane, yeah. Okay.